Hi, I'm Annie Ulichny, and it's always really such a pleasure to be here to practice with you and work on some mindfulness and meditation practices together. We're going to start with the 3 breaths, but we're not going to do the typical 3 breaths that we've already been doing. We're going to change it slightly. The 3 breaths we're going to take are just following with our focus, our ordinary breath, without trying to control it, just following it and noticing the tone and the texture of the breath, if it's a short or long breath, those kinds of things. We're just going to let the breath breathe itself for 3 breaths. And if it ends up being 4 breaths for you or 5 breaths, that's fine too. There's no direct absolute that it's only 3 breaths. So just use the flow of your breath as we get started here, and use your own rhythm completely as we move forward here with these 3 breaths. Okay, great. So we'll take our comfortable posture, seated upright with a dignified spine, feeling our feet flat on the floor, and feeling our seat, just the weight of gravity holding us here, and noticing our shoulders can drop down. We tense our shoulders up so much during the day. Having our hands just very comfortably resting on our lap. And we're going to breathe in and out of the nose if that's workable for you. And we're going to close our eyes down. Again, if for some reason you wish to modify any of these things, please, I encourage you to make sure you're comfortable and things are easy with all of these different suggestions. So we'll go ahead and we'll take our deep breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Our breath in, but we're going to let the breath breathe itself. And we're going to follow it with our focus. And then follow the exhale. Notice if we're trying to control the breath, or if we're simply following with our focus. There's a very subtle difference there. On the next in-breath, just follow it without controlling it. And then noticing the exhale. We could notice if there's a choppy, restless feel to the breath, or if it's smooth and soft and gentle, or maybe a little bit of both on the inhale or the exhale. Okay. So I'm going to leave a little space and a little more silence in some of these breathing exercises we're doing, just like I also did with that one. So we can start to see when our thoughts come in, and when the mind, these 2 capacities of the mind, the one is this thinking process, the stream of thoughts, the inner voice that we have that's always going. And then we have this other very clear, open, spacious, conscious, aware, and very present part of the mind. And we're seeing how they both interact actually with the breath, which is kind of interesting. The thinking mind typically wants to try to control the breath, and the focused, open, spacious capacity and part of our mind is willing to just have it be open and breathe on its own. And it kind of causes some restlessness within. when the thinking mind and that capacity to try to control the action of breathing is trying to take over. And then it's also interesting to notice if we have a smooth, long, calm breath, or maybe it feels a little restless, a little choppy, and a little short, like a breath that's coming from our diaphragm versus our lower belly. Our breath is a very good indicator of how we're doing from the inside out. If we're in a stressed response, or if we're in a relaxation response, more of a well-being response within the body, within the nervous system, within the brain, and all of the capacities that link these two. So the breath can point to these things for us. If we have a shorter breath, a breath that feels restless and choppy, and we just feel a little uneasy when we're paying attention to the breath, then it means that maybe we could do some of this breath work to help calm us down, again, from the inside out, calm us down. And then we start to have elongated, soft, smooth, sometimes even a very gentle, slow breath when we're in the relaxation response, which is the ideal response. It's that place of readiness, okayness. Everything is okay. I can handle anything. I'm not going to react. I'm going to just simply respond with an open, creative, very aware flow in my life to whatever comes up today. So the breath is very present, always brings us back into the present. And so it's a good place to practice. And so we're going to string 4 different breathing techniques together. And again, I'm going to make space within the practices so that you can start to also see the nature of your thoughts. This is excellent learning when we start to see where our thoughts take us, where we get pulled into thoughts. If it's the past, ruminating on some conversation we had with somebody from the past, or the future, worried about something coming up for the future. All of these things are so common. And the more we know about where our thoughts take us, the more we can understand that link between where our thoughts take us and how it's affecting our body and our stress levels and our struggles internally. And breathing techniques can bring us back, always keep bringing us back into the here and the now, into, again, a relaxed, regulated response within the nervous system and the body and the mind. So we'll get started. And we're going to do 4 different breathing techniques. And I'm just going to thread them all together so we can just keep our eyes closed throughout the whole practice. And again, just feel into the posture. Feeling into our feet on the floor. Again, just starting to notice from the inside out here as we ground ourselves and stabilize. Feeling into our seat and up the spine, all the dignity we carry in our spine, and that our shoulders are relaxed and our hands are relaxed. Our face feels relaxed. And then we can start to come to the breath. And again, just like those 3 breaths at the beginning, just breathing in, feeling the breath coming in. Without controlling it, can we notice it coming in and letting it come in on its own and release on its own on the exhale? And notice when we get pulled into thoughts. Can we come back to the breath? Just keep coming back. And one very traditional breathing technique is where we place all of our focus, our mind's ability to focus that we've been working with, place it all at the tip of our nose. So all of our focus we can feel at the tip of our nose. So on the in-breath, we could feel like a cooling sensation as the breath is coming in through the nose. And then releasing The exhale, releasing the body, releasing the exhale through the nose. Again, feeling the sensations. Perhaps it feels a little bit warmer as that warm breath exits the body through the nose, just keeping all the focus on the tip of the nose. So take a few breaths on your own, in and out, with all of your focus on the tip of your nose. If we get pulled into thoughts, just notice the types of thoughts that pull us out of our present moment here. What types of thoughts are they? And we just simply can come back to the tip of the nose, just very gently. We don't need to push anything away or get frustrated. This is just simply practice to build our neural networks, our ability to focus and stay present. One other technique that some people really like because it helps to keep them focused in the present is to add a counting mechanism to the breathing. And so we'll elongate the breath slightly on the exhale when we do. So we'll inhale on a count of 4 and we'll exhale on a count of 6. And I'll go through a few rounds saying it out loud, and you can say it to yourself if this is a technique that helps you in doing this. So give it a try. So we'll inhale 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling on your own for a count of 4, and then exhaling for a count of 6. Noticing if we get pulled into thoughts. Come back to the breath. Just keep coming back. You might notice if you get distracted, again, pulled into thoughts, noticing what kinds of thoughts they are, and just keep coming back to the breath and the cycle of the counting. If this works for you, if the counting doesn't work, then you can just inhale for a general count of 4 and elongate the exhale for a count of 6, or again, whatever is comfortable, without actually doing any of the counting, but just staying really focused on the inhale and the exhale and elongating the exhale. We'll do a few more here. So we'll go back just to following the breath, the regular, natural, ordinary breath. Just checking in, seeing how the breath feels, seeing how the body feels, how the mind feels. What's happening within? Have we noticed any slight shifts within, both in the breath or in the body, than when we started 15 minutes ago? Okay, so we'll try the next two techniques. We'll just stay again in this comfortable posture, and we're going to use the ocean breath or the dragon breath. We've done this before, and it's a breath where you're pressing against the back of your throat on the exhale. So if my mouth were open, it would sound like this on the exhale. And it's an elongated exhale, just like that last breathing technique. And with my mouth closed, it's going to sound like, thus the name dragon breath or ocean breath. So we're going to breathe in, and then on the exhale, again with your mouth closed if that's possible, making that elongated deep breath. Stay focused on the breath. Notice if you get pulled into thoughts. Let's come back to the cycle of the breath. Really elongate on the exhale. We'll try one more together. Inhaling, following the breath all the way through the body. Exhaling, really pressing on the back of your throat. We're encouraging the vagus nerve. We're letting the vagus nerve know everything is safe and okay. And it's time to just come back into the relaxation response. Release. And then the fourth breathing technique we'll do is again something we've done before, and it's lower belly breathing. And we're going to use our imagination, our mind's eye, to imagine the breath coming in through the nose, through the throat, through the diaphragm and lungs, and continuing all the way down to the pelvis, the lower belly area. And we're helping to encourage a really elongated, deep breath, because again, this brings us into a place of relaxed, calm well-being from the inside out. And then the exhale is going to be a pressing back against your backbone. So your belly button is pressing against the backbone, the spine area. So you're really flattening out the belly and pressing the air up and out all the way through the nose. Sometimes it might help to imagine we have a little balloon, a little soft, tender balloon in the lower belly. It may help to imagine filling that up on the in-breath and then releasing all of the air out of that balloon on the exhale. See if that's something that works for you. And this really helps to encourage a long, deep, slow breath. So breathing in, filling everything up. You could feel your whole belly extending, releasing, expelling the air, flattening the belly button back. Take some breaths on your own and notice how easily we get pulled into thoughts. And notice what kinds of thoughts pull us out of the present moment. We start to become more familiar with our unconscious thinking. And this can be so helpful to us and reduce our stress in our daily lives. We start to see where our thoughts take us and just keep coming back to the present moment. and out of the thoughts. Okay, so wherever you are in your cycle of breath, just finish the final exhale here and flatten that belly back. Really press it back. Get all of the stale air out on this last exhale. And then just check in and see how the body is feeling. Noticing the quality of the breath. Noticing if it's changed since we started. Noticing if by changing the breath and trying these techniques, if we also feel that the body is perhaps a bit more open and spacious and calm and feels more at peace. And while we can't stop the thinking mind, we can slow the overthinking down just even a little bit. And when we don't pay attention to those thoughts as much, that also helps to slow down the overthinking. So I encourage you to try these breathing techniques on your own and notice what kinds of thoughts you have and see how they can just kind of move into the background just a little bit and you can stay more present. I'm so appreciative of the time we have together. Thank you very much for your time.